Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuro encoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuro encoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. Today we have one of my all-time faves and repeat guest here on the Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast. We have Gina Iovino. She is a nutritional specialist, a neuro wellness coach. She's a freaking rock star and a friend. So, Gina has three brothers, I believe, Marines. Is that correct, Gina?
Yep.
Yeah. And she has a very different perspective. She works with Guardians of Valor and Project Refit. So we're going to hear some great stuff, great, amazing resources that she's going to kind of bring to us, and we're just going to have some really good conversations. So, hey, Gina, for people that don't know you yet, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I want to say too, I love your opening, Michael. I love your opening for the podcast. It's phenomenal. It's great. I absolutely love it. But as you were saying too, I am a functional nutritionist and neuro wellness coach. On my big passion also is working with veterans and first responders. So I would say like you were saying, the big one is Project Refit, like what I'm wearing right here. And then a subgroup, I have my own fire team, which is called Guardians of Valor. Now, Project Refit originated, it's in Jersey. And what's really great is one of our biggest mission is the combat isolation. So, and that is doing fireside chats, some other things. They do great retreats. They give resources. But because I don't live in Jersey, I live in the Indiana area, very close to Chicago too as well. So I have my own fire team, which is called Guardians of Valor. But we're all part of Project Refit, really to spread this message on isolation and also changing that negative stigma around mental illness and how we ask for help and all of that. So
fantastic. And honestly, as we're having people pop on already, thank you for what you do. Honestly, it makes a difference. We need to get our messages out. We need to get those conversations going with these veterans. And, for you, obviously, you work with responders, first responders as well. So,
there's a correlation there too. We do know a lot of veterans leave that position and then they jump into being a first responder.
Very true.
It's so you're going to find a lot of that everywhere. Yeah.
So let's just jump in, right? I mean, I've got, normally, Gina, I was telling you earlier, normally I put together just like three questions just to kind of get to if we do, but this is all organic conversations. I have 10 questions. I got so excited about this. I have 10 questions. So if we can, I'd love to just jump in. We'll hit what we want, but again, organic conversations, guys. This is live. This isn't, all scripted. We just go. So that sound good for you?
I love it.
Fantastic.
The best way.
Just before we start, I just want to let everybody know, hey, stick around at the end. We're going to go through 3 tips for our veterans and first responders, and let's be honest, civilians as well. Most of these tips will correspond for everybody. So stick around. Also, on the top right corner, we have that blue QR code. Scan that. There's resources for veterans, for everybody, really, but I've written some ebooks, and again, there's resources page just for veterans and so on. So scan that, or if you're just listening on the podcast on Apple Music or Spotify, etc. empowerperformancestrategies.com is how you get all this information. All right, so let's go. So can you start, really, Gina? I know the story, but can you start with what led you to get involved in Project Refit or veteran support organizations in general, and in Guardians of Valor as well?
Yeah, so I don't have any ties. I was never in the military myself. I am not a first responder, but like you had previously said, I have 3 brothers that are Marines. And that really just opened up this whole world that I never knew was even, I knew it existed, but in my realm of thinking, I didn't understand how it existed. You know, we all go to school, we learn history, but it wasn't until I stepped on the grounds at Camp Pendleton when my brother graduated, my first brother, when he graduated in the Marine Corps, that I was like, holy cow. It was almost like I got a rush of all of history at once. Right. And it just clicked in. It all made sense. Like, this is bigger than what I was even taught in school. So that was a wow moment for me right there. The second part was, this was right before 9/11. We got to go into the auditorium. We watched what they were doing. And, you know, a sergeant came out, gave this amazing speech. And at the very end, he said something that would later come back and hit me really hard. And he said, you know, these guys may go off to war, but it's going to be your civil responsibility to take care of them when they come home.
Wow.
Jump forward 9/11. And it was just like, boom, you know, went through all of that. I had two brothers that deployed, and it just, those words resonated with me. So from then on, the first organization I was with was Heart of Marine Foundation, that is no longer functioning. And then from there, I jumped in with Project Refit. But that's my way of giving back. It's also too, and why I love Project Refit and their mission to combat isolation is, as I was telling you before, Michael, before we jumped on, is this isn't just a veteran problem. It's not a first responder problem. This is a family dynamic. And I know what it's like to be on the other end of the family member who's worried, doesn't feel like they have support in their community. I know when I was going through it, as everybody was having fun and going out, because I was in my 20s, having a good old time, I was sitting there and looking around and going, where's my people? Who can I talk to? Like, no one understands what I'm going through.
Right. So Gina, just for a second, you know, you hit on something just outstanding. The person that came on during that ceremony, if you will, in the gym, can you just say again what he told everybody that really stuck with you?
Yeah, he said, you know, these men may go off to war, but it's your civil responsibility to take care of them when they come home.
I hope everybody really hears that, because if more people heard that message, and they will now, but if more people heard that hopefully changes the game, you know, because it's those kinds of impactful statements that, for the right people, will make change that we need desperately.
Absolutely. And there's a big range there. You know, you don't have to be someone like myself that joined an organization and is doing all of this work. You can even have a veteran or a first responder at home, and maybe your duty and responsibility is to care for that person in a way that they need to be cared for. So there's a big spectrum here. Or maybe sometimes you donate or whatever it is, or participate when schools maybe have functions for veterans. But it doesn't have to be in the form of going out and volunteering. You know, I'm sure everybody's impacted. I think everybody knows an uncle, a grandfather, a brother, a friend, somebody. And it just starts with just being a good person and checking in on those people and seeing if they're okay. And that's how you get started.
I love that. And I'm just going to add on to that. It's let's just reach out, just like you said, and just create space for them. Just let them say, you know, hey, I'm struggling, or hey, I'm having a great day, and have them celebrate that, you know, and celebrate that you're just reaching out, you know. That does so much for psychology and all of the amazing neural chemicals that release and say, hey, I want more. And if we just take the time, think of a veteran today. Can we take an action today, guys? Or a first responder? Can we take an action today? Think about someone that you know and reach out. Hey, how are you today? And just have a 5-minute conversation. I guarantee you that changes their day and yours.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. All right. So thank you for that. And Gina, really, you know, I didn't get into it, but thank you for everything that you do with Project Refit and Guardians of Valor, and just you as a person. You know, I'm honored to know you. You really are an amazing soul. So thank you for being you.
You as well. And we're going to do this together. And that's why I love that you're doing this, Michael, is because we can't do it alone and we can't do it separate. We got to keep branching out. We got to start locking arms with each other and different organizations and different people like yourself that are also helping veterans and say, hey, how do we come together?
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if
Amen.
we're all locked, if one tries to run somewhere, they ain't going to get through because we're going to be surrounding them somehow. If we can
Yes.
all just keep locking arms.
We're stronger together for sure.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. All right. So, question: what are some of the unique challenges that veterans face today that organizations that you're involved in can aim to address?
Yeah, one of the things that I really love with Project Refit and what really drew me to them is they're putting their boots on the ground for these
Mm,
veterans. They're not just saying donate, give us money, we're throwing an event, we're having a good time. They're really working hard constantly, and I'm currently right now building my fire team so that I can have these fireside chats. And what these fireside chats are, it is either you can have them once a month, a couple times a month, but it's a place where veterans and first responders can not only feel safe, but we can come together around a fire, sit down, and be able to talk freely and not be judged. Also be understood because the people around us, the only people that can show up to these are those veterans and first responders. And we're all giving support. We're all saying, hey, we're here for a helping hand and let's get through this. Let's not suffer with it. Let's let it out and let's get through this.
amen. That's yeah, I love that. And again, veterans, first responders, they the ones that I talk to, coach, etc. They struggle with, and I'm not saying everybody, so please understand this is not a blanket statement across everybody in the world. So, but they struggle with the trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're trusted, they open up and real change happens, So, what you're doing with the fireside chats is really, really cool.
And not only trust, I think part of it is all of us as human beings want to feel accepted and we don't want to ever be looked down upon. That's all of us. And so if you can be in a group that you feel supported and it doesn't matter what you say, no one's going to judge you for that kind of a statement. And anything that comes, as comes back as far as a conversation is only going to be out of extra support and out of love for that person.
Amen. We have to have those families,
Mm-hmm.
blood or chosen, but we need to have those families for support. Amen. I really love that. Let's see. What are now I'm gonna skip that one. How important is community involvement? We just talked about this, but involvement in the success of veteran support programs. How can the general public get more involved? And feel free to talk about websites, whatever we need to get the information out there, please.
Well, first, the easiest thing that anybody can do is anybody watching this, you hit the share button below.
Mm,
That's how you do it because you never know who shares it with somebody or their friend sees it or they're like, hey, I have a buddy or, I have a spouse. Oh my God, this can help them. And then they continue to share it. And that's the first thing you can do. It's super easy. And it's awareness. I believe that people know that this is out there. But I think kind of like that know, like, trust factor
mhm.
has to come from seeing it over and over again. So when they are ready to say, hey, where is there a spot for me? They can feel comfortable in knowing that they're seeing this material over and over again. Just like what you're doing, Michael. You're going to have people that are going to be watching your podcast, and then eventually when they need to reach out, they're going to go look for you because they
Yep.
feel comfortable. They feel like they've known you and they can
Mhm.
trust what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
They know
so,
your heart, right? And
yeah.
that's the same thing for you. I mean, anybody that knows me knows how passionate I am about what I'm doing, and you as well. I mean, I've seen I watch your stuff. I
Me too.
comment
Me
too,
too.
but
Yeah.
there's so many people, we call them lurkers, right? That are back there watching, and all of a sudden, when it's the right time, they reach out. Exactly, what
Hmm.
you're saying. So, um,
And it's word of mouth. You got to keep telling everybody that you come in contact with. I do a thing where I make like little cards that have a piece of the American flag that used to fly, but can no longer fly anymore. Has a little message on the back, and at the end, it lets them know that there's always somebody out there that loves and supports you. And
love it.
whenever I'm out and I see a veteran, I make my kids go with me. If they're with me, we say thank you. I ask them if I could give them the gift of giving them that card. It has my information on it, and I let them know that I appreciate their service.
Hmm.
And then, I always tell my kids, hey, make sure next when you go into school the next day and you say the Pledge of Allegiance, remember that guy. That's why people say the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me.
Yeah. No,
Um,
you're good. You're good.
but yeah, it's for a lot of men and women that have most of them paid the ultimate sacrifice, but can't forget.
Yeah, and it's thank you for the vulnerability.
Yeah.
First of all, Gina, you're amazing. So thank you. I had a guest on yesterday, Robert and Kathy Castile, and when I thanked them for their service and what they're doing now, just like you, she said something that I just heard recently, and it really made an impact. She said, "You were worth it."
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna get.
Wow. Yeah.
I heard someone else say it because there's sometimes awkwardness when you thank a veteran and they're not sure how to respond, et cetera. And I've seen this for a while. And when she said it, it just really hit.
Mhm.
They're really doing sacrifice, and not just them. It's their families at home. They're sacrificing as well, and they sacrifice for a time afterward until they get to know each other and the things that they go through when they come back as a family unit, which I know is a super passionate topic for you as well.
Mhm.
So fantastic, and thank you again for that. I have a mosquito. It's live, guys. I don't edit this. So can you share, Gina? And I'm really excited to hear something on this one. Um, and a personal experience, success story, even more so, from your work with veterans that has been more so or particularly impactful for you personally.
Um, we probably won't really know specifically how many lives we've actually saved
Mhm.
by just having this support system.
Amen. Yeah.
Because there's no real survey that goes out that's like, hey, did you think about suicide this month? That's not what we do. But we really probably don't understand the magnitude of how many people it's reaching and how many lives are actually being saved, which is something for me with that 22 a day is unacceptable. And a friend of mine who is an officer made a post because they had lost another police officer, and she was kind of like, God, when is this going to stop? When are we going to get help? And it was like I could either keep scrolling, and that's when I got involved with Project Refit. It was like either I could keep scrolling or I could be a part of the solution instead of waiting for it. So there's a need, and it's definitely out there. And I think those achievements are in the quiet times when no one's around, and those quiet moments when that veteran or first responder is left by themselves with their thoughts, and they make a different choice because they know that they do have support, or that they can let it out, or that someone actually cares. One of the things I love about Project Refit is they have what's called a radio check. It is
Hmm.
every single Monday, every single Friday. Robert Scott, if you hear this, I love you. He does it rain, shine, holiday, it doesn't matter. He's on at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, it's Mondays and Fridays. Fridays are really nice because those Zoom calls are more private
Hmm.
for those calls, where Mondays they were, which I don't know how things are going to change now, but they were streaming them live on Mondays through Facebook. But yeah, you can get on those calls. And what a beautiful thing to always know that somebody is there every Monday, every Friday.
How long has Project Refit been around? This isn't. I'm just my curiosity.
Ooh. I know it's been quite a few years. I've been with them a few years. Oh God, I'm going to say anywhere between, I want to say like 5 to 7, but don't quote me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna quote you.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So, I can only imagine how many people and people that people know and the whole tree going down, how many people have been impacted, even if it was just to change your day, let alone, of course, veteran or first responder suicide. It's
Mhm.
that's just an amazing thing. So,
And I love being a part of this too, because as a nutritionist, you're like, okay, well, what does a nutrition have to do with it? It has a lot to do with it. There's many, I would say, what we call many pieces to this issue. It's not just you got to think yourself out of it. No, you got to eat right, you got to move right. You got to take care of yourself with correct supplements. I mean, this is a bigger picture. So
yeah,
I
so
think
much.
the way now, which I'm very happy to be part of, I think with the way that we're moving in functional nutrition is going to be so beneficial for people experiencing their TBI, PTSD, moving into more of this. How do I want to say this? way of treatment than where it used to be just so rigid. You're experiencing this, here you take this, go home. Yeah. Where it's looking at the whole person.
It is, and let me add on to that as well. And well, let me touch base on that first. When you're exercising and you feel good because we're eating the right thing and getting the right nutrients, and I can't say enough about this. Gina can. She can talk for days. I love it. But when people realize it because they've done it, and they realize the difference in how they feel and the thoughts that are going through their head, instead of sitting on the couch, scrolling or binge watching Netflix for a week straight, whatever the case may be. But when you get on that treadmill, you go for a simple walk in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And how it changes your mentality and how you feel, out of this world difference. So the mental stability, the positive thoughts instead of the beating yourself up thoughts, is out of this world difference. So thank you for bringing that up, because it's super important on how it impacts you. And that's across the board, everybody, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because you don't know, maybe you're stuck in the hamster wheel of your thoughts because maybe you have a hormonal imbalance. Maybe something else is working. Go get that blood work done. Go talk to your doctor. See if there's something an underlying cause that keeps pulling you and gravitating you towards that direction first. But
absolutely,
yeah.
And talk to a coach. Talk to somebody else like that. A lot of times, I'm going to go with 90% of the time, the thoughts that are going through your head are the same thoughts that you went through and talked to yourself yesterday about.
Yeah.
And we have, and I'm not trying to sell you on something, I'm just trying to help. So understand that. We have skills, we have, especially with neuro coding, we have things that, simple tips, simple, not complex, simple tips that can help you change that structure and change what you're going through, and default you back to your best self, or your best thoughts, if you will. So, there are the health things as well. So I'm not disregarding that. But a lot of the times it's literally just learning some skills to change your mental thought patterns.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, what are some of the goals for you personally, or with your companies, or of course Project Refit and Guardians of Valor? What's coming up?
Well, for me, one of the biggest things that I want to work on is I had a really great experience going to an event. I don't know if you're familiar with Travis Howes, but he also is an ex-Marine. Was a first responder, both police and firefighter, and he just, man, his events are amazing. If you can go out and see one, because he talks about having resilience, and it's mental resilience, and really getting this conversation out. He says a lot of things that were so amazing, and one of the things that stuck out is he did ask people, how many of you have thought about suicide or tried committing suicide? And when you look around and you saw how brave some of these people were to raise their hand, I thought, oh my gosh. And then at the same time, when the event was over, we just let them leave. Like they left the event and that was it. And I know, like, as a person, sometimes you go to an event and you're like, yeah, this was so great. But then you get home and you're like, now what do I do with this? There's no tools. So partly what I want to start doing is I want to start creating those tools. So it's not just like, we're not just going to have a conversation, but now we're actually going to give you a workbook. We're going to have something that we're doing. So that way it's going to give you those steps. So when you're home or after you're done with the event or the workshop, you're like, all right, I remember this. I kind of don't remember it. Where am I at? You can kind of find the solution there and start working on it.
I love that.
That's how we're going to help people too. You got to actually give them the tools. And like you said, the simple tools like a neuro coding, get them further faster.
Absolutely. So I love that you're doing that. I love it. So I can't tell you how many seminars, how many things I've watched or done that it's raw, and you feel great. And I'm going to side note here, some of that goes in your subconscious and it comes back up, right? But having that, I just went to, I'm just going to say, a seminar for 3 days, and now I'm home. Very easily, if you don't have the right mindset and right skill sets, if you will, to keep that going, or workbooks or things to just keep the momentum going, how fast you can go from rah to I hate my life. And like real world sets in, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we even had, Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Please, go ahead. Please.
Yeah, and we even had like guys that were in their uniforms there because they knew they had to cut out and go to the job. So they're not only watching an event that was pretty emotional. Now they're jumping to their job, and who knows what catastrophic thing can happen at work.
Right.
So how much of them when they come home and it's like time to be a father, to be a husband and have to try to relax, are you going to be like, now what did I remember from the event so that I can go from, fight or flight to parasympathetic state? It's just, there's a lot to unpack there that I don't think people realize is what these first responders and a lot of the veterans that have gone overseas and what they actually physically, mentally, emotionally go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the great Les Brown, life be lifing, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's you have that, whatever the case may be in your world, and then life happens. Your water heater goes out, whatever the case may be. Your water heater goes out. Who knows? Cable goes out for a weekend. But you have all these little things that just stack. And if you don't unstack or stack the good positive things in there, they build, and then bad things happen. Explosions, domestic violence. You turn to alcohol, drugs.
Yeah.
You go solitude, and then we all know what happens. Unfortunately, once solitude goes in there, if we don't break out of it. So, I think that's an amazing point there. Hey, so we're getting kind of close to the end here. Dang it!
No, darn, it goes by too fast.
I know, right? Well, that's okay. We'll have you back.
Love it.
So, how can people reach out and move forward? And well, first of all, let me go 2 questions. Let me separate this because I'm going to give you too much to go with. So, how do people reach out and get involved to support veterans, first responders through specifically your organizations?
Yes. So you can go to projectrefit.us. They have a fantastic website. There's on there, like with retreats, what they're doing, because they also take first responders and veterans all the time on retreats to work on opening up and talking and having these conversations. You can also be like myself. I'm a monthly donor. You can donate anything from $1 up to as high as much as you want every single month, which goes back to the resources that we need to help them. Another thing that you can do is, hey, if you are in any state that you're at, any community like yourself, if you're like, I want to start a fire team, like I want to help out, you can start one. Contact Project Refit. James Corbett, he will get on a call with you and he will help you to get that started in your community. Because the more and more that we have more of these fire teams, then the more and more people are going to start saying that this is where I need to go. I need to go to Project Refit because they understand me and I can get that help. I would also say too, you could go on Facebook. I'm there, Guardians of Valor, and you can message me there. We can have a conversation. If you are in the Indiana, more Chesterton, Valpo, or the Chicagoland area, please reach out to me. I'm trying to build this team. We are trying to push for our first fireside chat in July. So we're also going to need some donations and resources for that too as well. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you want to help out, please do.
So I'm listening. I want to help out. Let's talk after we get off here. I like to help out. So let's definitely talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you personally, as a nutritional coach, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, again, too, you can reach me on Facebook. I have a page there. I'm also on Instagram at Gina Will Show You. And if you also, too, if you want to look up Health and Mindset Revolution, you can also find my business that way, too, as well.
Fantastic. Will you do me a favor? It looks like actually Susan is already dropping
I
some
know,
of the
she's
stuff.
so sweet. She's been posting all of it. So beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
She's an amazing woman.
Gosh,
I kind of know her.
Yeah.
So, Susan, shout out.
Yes, thank you. I'm just saying that. Thank you, Susan.
So, as promised in the beginning, we want to give our vets, first responders, and civilians the 3 tips that we promised if they stuck around. How to give me 3 tips. I'm sorry, some the messages are coming in so fast.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Give us 3 tips, Gina.
I would say the first tip is you always have to know that you have a choice. Always have a choice. So you can either choose, even though how hard or painful it is, you can either choose to stay in that pain, or you can choose to just start by finding something. And even if it's not Project Refit, which I hope it is, because we love you, we really do. But if it's not, go look out there. There are a lot of organizations doing amazing things. Find what your fit is. Find who your people are and start that way. So I would say that's the number one thing, is make that choice. You have to make it. And like anything else, you have to work. I say step 2 is you got to constantly work on that choice. Maybe sit down, and maybe you need to write a nice letter to yourself or something that says, every day I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and put a plan together and start actually putting that into action.
Fantastic.
And the last thing, like in neurocoding, is you got to celebrate every day.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, I'm not only that way, but you gotta be grateful. Or if you push through a hard day, you need to take a look at yourself and say, hey, you know what, in the mirror, like, you took on a lot of stuff, or that call was really rough, but you know what, you are amazing for yourself, amazing for your team. And you know, we all went home to our families today because of you fully showing up. Be grateful. Celebrate that.
Love it. If I can, I want to add 2 things. I want to add to the first thing, take an action. Just take that first action. Pick up the phone, call, text, do some research, find your tribe.
Yep. Get on a radio check call. You don't have to talk. You can just sit there if you want, but get on one of our radio check calls.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's not with you, do it with somebody.
Yeah.
But Gina and her group, amazing resource, absolutely amazing resource. So take that action, please.
And real quick too, since we're giving resources, if you are in the Chicagoland area, I do have a really good friend of mine who works for a vet center. He's phenomenal. He's also a veteran himself. So if you need to reach out and you need that resource and information, please let me know. Excellent.
And honestly, talking about celebrations, hey, at the end of the day, have something to write on, and just write down for 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you can, but don't stop. Just write every win for the day. And that could be, I got out of bed. That could be, I brushed my teeth. That could be, I had an amazing dinner with my wife, or whatever the case may be. But write those down, because it really helps to ingrain them in you and into your nervous system, truly, so that you start stacking the positive and not just life be lifing. Thank you, Les Brown. Stacking all of the other, let's call it shit, that happens during the day, because it happens to all of us. So those are only 2 things I wanted to add. Gina Iovino, you're amazing. I love you, lady. Thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do. I am so honored to call you a friend. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. Same here, Michael. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And thank you to your community as well.
Thank you. And it's just, let's get out there. People, everybody here, friends, family, whoever sees this or hears this later, take an action, reach out, and just get out there. Just get out there and help and talk to a veteran, make them feel like they matter, and that someone is there and cares, because it will make a difference for everybody. I promise you, I do it all day long. All right.
Hit the share button. Just hit the share button. Share Michael's stuff. Keep hitting share.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Anybody, if there's someone out there that we need to know, introduce us, please.
Yes.
All right. We are out of here.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.